All right, so what's going on, everybody? So if you've been following me for a long time, you know, out of everything that I've said, all of it in some form of consistency, I've been very confident in the way that I speak and the way that I deliver. And a lot of people, depending on where you're coming from, a lot of people, even some of the haters, right, or whatever that may be against me, they agree with me on some things and they're like, okay, that's a good message. Even yesterday's video, people are like, okay, this is great. Just do more of this. But other stuff, people are like, that's wrong. What are you doing? Other people are like, amen, that's right. And there's a lot of so-called divisive and division, right? And so a lot of people are wondering, man, what are you doing? Why are you talking about this and that? And, you know, all these different questions, right? But let me tell you something. The Lord has called me to an assignment that involves a lot of these tough conversations that, quite frankly, a lot of people are not yet awakened to. And so I'm not saying this from any arrogant perspective. I'm not trying to gaslight anybody. I'm not trying to, dumb somebody down and just tell them, that you don't have the knowledge for it. You can get there, right? But the problem we have right now is that because all of America, all of the world, we're at different levels of understanding. There's a great information warfare. And when I say that, I'm not just saying, oh yeah, there's a lot of information out there and you got to be cautious. I'm literally talking about a war going on for your mind. And there's propaganda out there. There's so many things trying to control the narrative. There's so many different voices trying to tell you and speak to you and say, hey, this is the truth or this is the truth. But yet there's two very contradictory things and very controversial in some sense. You got election fraud, you got COVID and the vaccines, you got Russia, Ukraine, you got many, many different types. Those are just some of the high level, big picture topics that come to my mind, but there's many topics, right? And so a lot of people, they don't quite understand the gravity of the information war that we are in that is trying to combat and win your mind, right? And so the only way I can go about saying this is this, because a lot of people, they attack me and my character and myself, my Christianity, whatever it is. But let me give you this example. If I was a person and I witnessed, and I'm just going to think about something super ridiculous, but it is within the realm of possibility. Imagine if you were caught, somebody came in to the door, into the room, and they saw you standing over a dead body, and it had knife wounds, right? And you're wondering, people are wondering what, and the knife is there, right? People are wondering, did you kill this guy? And then you look over to him and say, no, actually a dog came in here and stabbed this guy multiple times, and then the dog left. People would look at you and say, you must be lying, you're crazy, right? But quite literally, imagine if this dog, some random dog was coming in here, he had a knife in his mouth, and then he was like going, "Arr, arr," and then like just started like literally like piercing the guy that's dead, right? With his mouth, with the knife in his mouth, and you literally witnessed that happening, and then the dog ran away, right? In my mind, the guy witnessing it, as ridiculous as it sounds, as it looks, I am quite certain, without a shadow of a doubt, that is what happened, because with my eyes, I witnessed it, right? And now a lot of people will come in here, hey, he's crazy, he's delusional. The guy just got his wisdom teeth removed yesterday, and so maybe the gas, the laughing gas, maybe got him crazy. Everyone's gonna try to gaslight you and look at you and say, oh yeah, he says this stuff, but he's a little bit crazy in his head. He's turning crazy. You can look at his history, and and then people start attacking the guy's character, because how likely is it that some random dog came into this room, jumped into the window with some knife, and then just like started like taking his mouth and just like stabbing the guy and then left? It just sounds like a ridiculous story, right? But to the guy who witnessed it, they know what happened. But then the problem we have is that the influence of the other guy that walked in the room and looked at it, maybe he's a older person, maybe he's just a louder, more extroverted person who just has more commanding authority, maybe he has some titles, maybe he has all these different things, and slowly but surely he makes the other person who truly witnessed what happened and say, oh, I guess maybe it was just some kind of a vision I had, some weird like thing, right? I'm sorry, guys. And over time, the guy gets psychotic and says, oh, I guess that's not what I saw. But without a shadow of a doubt, this is what he saw, right? And so for me, a lot of people will look at me and say, man, this guy seems like, he's he has things together. He doesn't sound like a quack or whatever it is. He just has these controversial thoughts, maybe prophecy, maybe in the realm of politics and this perception of reality and what he thinks about Russia, what he thinks about vaccines. There's no proof of fraud and all this stuff. And so that stuff, I can't, touch those things. But here's the problem, right? I know what the Lord showed me. And I don't say this in any arrogance. I know what the Lord showed me in the spirit. I know how he speaks to me. I know that the Lord has given me a gift of research, of discovery. He's given me more of a watchman calling. And so when I witness something, just like that dog dying, as ridiculous and as unfeasible as that would be within the realm of possibility, I know what I saw, right? And so no one's going to talk me down and say, no, you are crazy about this Ukraine, Russia thing. You're crazy about the fact that you think there was there was fraud in the elections. You're crazy to think, something sinister is happening with the vaccines and with this whole COVID thing. You're talking conspiracy. You're talking blah, blah, blah and all that stuff. Right. And let me say this, right? I'm a man who I would say anything. And again, people call me out on different things. And when I read comments, when I listen to people, I'm like, okay, that's a good point. I'll take that. People have called me out on, everything from hand gestures to things in the background of my backdrops to many other things. My word choice. Can I be more concise? Can I be more, can I be better at explaining things? Maybe I could take a different approach. Whatever it is, right? And I take that, I'm like, oh, that's good criticism. That's really good feedback. And I'm a guy, even though it doesn't sound like it on video, I'm a guy who truly wants to grow and get better. That's how I succeeded in my professional life. That's how I succeeded in many areas of my life. I wanted feedback and I wanted to grow. And even if that took, some cringe sort of like biting my tongue and my pride, swallowing my pride and saying, oh, I'm flawed here. I need to move forward. And so as a person of character and desiring to be sanctified and to grow, I'm of that area, but I'm also not one to back down and be gaslit, to be talked down to when I truly witnessed what I witnessed based on research, based on how the Lord has uncovered things for me. And as I said before, the Lord has given me a skill, a talent or a gifting, whatever you want to call it, of discovery. So when I see something, I can discern between those two things. And then the Lord allows me to go down more I don't want to say rabbit holes, but just down different topics to be able to get to the bottom of certain things. And so as a good investigator does, right? A good person that researches and analyzes. I do this in my professional life, guys. I'm well known in my field for this area, right? And so at my company. And so this kind of stuff, right? This is not something where some random dude who just doesn't have it together and he sounds like he's struggling with other parts of life and now he's spewing out random conspiracies and random stuff like that, right? Would say, right? But we're in a time now where many other people that are being censored, that are being written off, that are being told, hey, you have no idea what you're talking about. You sound crazy. Stop mixing this thing, all these topics with God and Jesus. Just stick to this part. Just stick to the gospel. Work on these topics. Why don't you just talk about unity? Why don't you talk about just the basic stuff? But here's the problem. Like I've said before, there are certain things that you don't have context to. A lot of people, they don't have an understanding of, and you haven't seen it from the right perspective. Just like that ridiculous dog story of what was the murder, because it's so unfathomable to the person that hasn't seen that, hasn't witnessed it, hasn't experienced it. They're going to write it off so that in their rational mind, they can try to cope and comprehend it. But here's the problem. This world, I've said before, we are in a time where there's good and evil happening. There are so many things behind the scenes, sinister stuff, satanic Luciferian stuff, that because you can't wrap your mind around it. The only way you can cope with it is to write off guys like me, to write off other people who are getting into the weeds of stuff. And because people are a lot of people, as much as you may not believe it, they are controlling the media to tell you, hey, don't talk about this, talk about this, frame it this way, present it this way. I want you to make it so that we can formulate the minds, the thoughts of people. There are so many things coming out. If you do any amount of research, you're seeing it get changed. Everything, a lot of things, I would say even everything Trump has been saying. The Hunter Biden laptop is a new thing right now. that is being confirmed, right? And it's already confirmed, as in that people knew about it before. But people don't grasp the gravity of the Biden family, the crime family, the sinister activity, the illegal stuff that they've been doing, and all they can want to do, because they've been so filled with hate, with rhetoric, with a point of view that media or whoever your friends have told you, hey, hate Trump, hate this guy, hate Putin, hate, these other Christians, hate Chris Yoon because blah, 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 blah. That because you don't seek after the truth, you don't seek after clarity, you will still be blinded, right? And so we're in a time now where if you are watching this, and maybe you're not even that small 1% that is in that camp, if you are the other majority, which I know is the majority of you guys watching this, you know that people like me and many other people, we're standing up. We're standing up because we don't want to be gaslit. We know what we saw. We know what the Lord showed us. We know what the evidence and what research has presented to us. We're not listening to the media. We're not listening to the false narratives. We're not going by majority or the loudest voice in the room because, their title says, a reporter from Reuters, a reporter from BBC. Here's my press badge. I should be one of authority. I have this title under my name. I have this accolade or association, right? Regardless of all of that, you're saying to yourself, I know what I saw. I know what the Lord revealed to me. I know the research that I've done when I compare two stories and say, oh, this seems like a false flag or something not true. And then this one seems and is more of the true. It may not be the 100% in that because we're in this war and you're thinking, man, are the white hats and the good guys, the patriots, whatever you want to call it, are they doing that intentionally to throw the enemy off, or is it actually true to get people to wake up? There's so many things, right? But it's a war. It's such a difficult war that if you take something at face value, you will not be able to understand it. And so that's why when I speak, guys, there are some things where like, okay, wow, this guy, that was really a blessing thing. And I agree with it. I 100% agree. He was bold about it. There's other things that I'm equally bold about, but so many people are like, I don't agree with that. Rah, rah, rah. And I'm not saying this in an arrogant way, but for the stuff that I'm confident about, I'm going all the way in. And so that's why when I talk about prophecy, that's why when I talk about Putin and Russia and Ukraine, when I talk about all these other things, right? I'm confident what the Lord showed me. And I'm telling you again, just like with Trump being restored, just like with the election fraud, if the Lord is going to strike me down in lightning and tell me, man, you are way off on this, I'm going to just remove him, then let him do that, right? But I know what the Lord showed me, and this is the assignment I have, and I'm going to continue being bold about it because this is what I know to be true. And this is for sure true. And that's why there's people like me and many other people trying to stand up and say, this is what it is, right? And there's other topics, guys, where I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm going to take a back seat on this one. I really don't know. And it's like theological topics that I may have a viewpoint on. It may not even be black and white, but it depends on how you interpret it, how you look at it. And I'm going to humbly say, man, I really don't know, man. We could have a discussion about it. We can, debate about it, but beats me, I don't know, right? And so I will humble myself in doing that. But for other things, I'm going to be all in on that perspective and the viewpoint because so many people in the world are clouded by the wrong narrative. And so again, I don't care, what people are saying like about, in the comments or people just constantly reaching out to me. I know what my assignment is. And this is not an arrogant statement. I'm doing it because the Lord gave it to me. The Lord impressed it on my heart. And all I want to do is be faithful. I have an audience of one, right? And many others, if you're watching this, you will be motivated too. You see my example. You see many other people's example. You've got to go out too and not be afraid to speak out of what you saw and what you know to be true. Not to be gaslit, not to be talked down, not to have somebody louder than you if they're older than you, if they have more accolades or title than you. Because there are people out there that they are just innocent bystanders, but they haven't reached that level of awakenedness yet. They haven't seen because they've been so disillusioned by the propaganda, the media, the evil that exists within our own borders in America and in the Western culture, Western world. They haven't been able to wake up yet. And so that's why there's this war of, that's conspiracy. That's QAnon. That's alt-right. That's extremism. And this war, people cannot get out of because they haven't been exposed to the basics or even into the intermediary things. They might be like, okay, I see how you could come to that conclusion and stuff, but I just still don't believe it, right? But again, to those that have been awake, we've been faithful, we've been diligent, we've been patriots in the sense that we're anons, whatever you want to call it, apes, if you want to go from the financial perspective, whatever area you're in, you know and you understand, okay, this is what I know to be the DD, the due diligence. This is what I know to be the research. This is what I know to be facts. This is what I know to be what God showed me through prophecy. This is what I know in my heart and in my spirit as being the true thing. So this is why I'm so confident in all these things. I'm not trying to be like, oh, this arrogant, like, oh, I'm so stupid, I don't know something about something. Otherwise, I would literally have embarrassed myself. I would literally have embarrassed myself. But I've told you time and time again, with the prophetic words, with your perspective on reality, many other things. I am so and there might be things where I'm like, okay, maybe some part of it, either it's timeline, maybe it's the way you look at something, a small tweak in the perspective and how you judge it. It's my own thoughts, my own feelings. It might be, okay, maybe you took a guess there on, not even a guess, but your interpretation of it may not exactly have been what you thought it was, but it's true in the essence of it, the actual foundation of it, right? There might be things like that, right? But for the most part, the overall movement, the overall direction, and those that know, and you're watching, and you've been on the same page, you've been researching, you've been doing whatever it is that the Lord has shown you in the spirit and in the natural world, you know what I'm talking about. And so I thank the Lord that there's a majority of you in that camp. And so many people are gaslighting even them, like, oh, you stupid Christians, oh, you weak-minded people. But look, as confident and as bold as I sound in this topic, I've been a Christian for since I was so little, right? And all these things. I used to be really good. I used to be that Bible straight A student. I could answer these questions and that, and I used to be very fierce in this. In that realm, the same realm that a lot of people talk about when it comes to theology, relationships, whatever it is. But then even in the last few years, as the Lord has opened up my mind to the other aspects of the world, that's when I thought, man, I have to step up and I have to be faithful in this calling to awaken, to help people, to guide people, and to be there as a brother in this space. And so don't tell me, stick to the gospel, do this stuff. I know what the Lord is showing me. I know what I'm doing I don't want to say I know what I'm doing in a prideful way. I'm saying I know the direction and the assignment that God has for me. I'm just walking in those steps. The Lord is going to help me move in that direction, but it's also up to me to step up. And it's also up to you guys to be able to step up in your respective callings and in your realms. And so, guys, I say this from a fierce, bold, lion-like perspective, but I also humble myself to say, Lord, use me and correct me, guide me, fill me. I don't want to operate on my own for anything. I want you to be operating. And so that's what you see, guys. And a lot of people, the criticism, all these different things, even for me and many other people, it's going to get tougher for a little bit. More words, more perspectives, more prophetic insights, all these different things are coming. But for a short time, it's going to get a little worse. And that's okay. Jesus took that too. Jesus was mocked, spit on. People told him, take yourself down from the cross and all these different things. But in the end, it was worth it. So God bless you guys. Love you guys. I'll talk to you guys very soon.